Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into something that's both super personal and, universal, this idea of awakening consciousness. But instead of getting all tangled up in abstract philosophy, we're going to use a really simple, beautiful metaphor to understand it: a cup of tea. So let's get started. So, right off the bat, I want to ask you something to just kind of keep in the back of your mind as we go through this. What does consciousness actually mean to you? Is it just like being aware of stuff, a particular feeling? Just hold that thought. We're about to build a framework that might give you a whole new way of looking at it. All right, so our journey starts here with this first idea, thinking of consciousness as an empty cup. Imagine it as pure potential, right? A vessel just waiting to be filled. But the real question is, what are we actually filling it with? Let's actually break down the word itself, because this is pretty cool. In Portuguese, consciência breaks down into consciência, which literally means with knowledge or with science. So, at its very core, consciousness is just that. It's about perceiving things as they really are and then acting from that place of clarity. It's like a simple two-step dance: see clearly, then act clearly. And this is where you really see the difference, right? On one side, you have that clear perception, which leads to clear action. But on the other side, you've got these distortions that cloud our cup. Things like preoccupation, which is really just worrying about stuff that hasn't even happened yet, or prejudgment, forming an opinion before you have all the facts. These are the smudges on our metaphorical teacup. So, what this all boils down to is this. When our perception is distorted, our actions aren't actually grounded in reality. They're just reactions. And more often than not, they spring from a place of fear instead of a place of intentional, clear choice. Okay, so if our consciousness is the cup, then what are the tea leaves? Well, that brings us to the signs of awakening, all those subtle little indicators that something is starting to brew inside of you. A lot of people who are on this path report really similar experiences. Like, have you ever felt your intuition suddenly get way stronger? Or you start noticing all these weird coincidences, these synchronicities? Maybe you felt this deep pull to just be in nature, or even a need for solitude, not because you're lonely, but because you need that inner connection. These are the tea leaves, those first signs that something really interesting is brewing. And, this quote from Carl Jung, man, it just absolutely nails it. Awakening isn't about finding something out there in the world. It is an inward journey. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. It's as simple and as profound as that. So how do we actually do this? How do we cultivate this state of being? Well, that brings us to the brewing process itself. And this is key. It's not something that just happens to you. It's an active practice that requires specific ingredients and, this is maybe the most important part, a whole lot of patience. Think of it like a recipe with 4 essential ingredients. First, you need true knowledge, really seeking out what's real and true. Second, a vibrant community. You have to surround yourself with supportive people. Third is adequate references, finding mentors or wisdom that can guide you. And finally, and this is a big one, constant practices, building those daily habits that keep you centered and aware. And listen, here's a really crucial warning. Just like pouring boiling water too fast, if you try to rush this process, you are going to get burned. This journey demands patience. It has its own timeline, and it's not going to be yours. That first ingredient, true knowledge, is probably more important right now than ever before. We live in a world that is just saturated with misinformation and fake news. So developing consciousness today absolutely requires developing discernment, that ability to sift through all the noise and separate what's real from what isn't. So what does this awakening actually feel like? I think pop culture often paints it as this dramatic, earth-shattering event. But through the lens of our metaphor, it's something totally different. It's gentle. It's more like the feeling of savoring a perfectly brewed, warm cup of tea. The qualities of this kind of awakening are subtle, but they're incredibly profound. It's gentle, it's free from all that tension and struggle, it's irreversible. I mean, once your eyes are truly opened, you just can't go back to seeing the world in the old way. And above all else, it's peaceful. It brings this deep sense of harmony to your inner world. So, what are some golden tips for navigating this path? Well, first, always remember that consciousness is what builds your inner peace and your resilience. Second, learn to make peace with the chaos of the world without letting it become your inner chaos. And finally, reject ignorance. Don't get comfortable with disorder in your own mind. Always, always be striving for clarity. And so this is where we bring the focus back entirely to you. Because at the end of the day, this was never just about some abstract theoretical concept. It's about your cup, and it's about your unique journey. And this might be the most powerful point of all. The tea of consciousness is never served in a dirty cup. Think about what that means. You just can't experience true clarity if your mind, your cup, is all cluttered up with prejudgment and fear and distraction. You need a clear mind to receive clear insight. It's that simple. So I'll leave you with one final question. Now that we've kind of shared this cup of tea together, what will you take from it into your own life? What's just one small thing you can do today to help clean your cup and start to brew your own gentle awakening? Thanks for exploring this with me today.